Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of last week's video. If you watched it, you know that I had filmed 10 tips and then the video was going to be like half an hour long, so I decided to do 2 videos that were about 15 minutes. So this is the part 2. I hope you enjoy it, and instead of doing a long intro, I'll just let you get right into the video.
Okay. Tip number 6 is when you have writer's block, try to find out why and go from there. Because I think a lot of people, writer's block is common and normal. Everyone who's ever written anything has experienced writer's block, even if it was an essay for school. Everyone's experienced writer's block at some point or another. So, but the reason why is often something that we don't really try to figure out because we just assume that it's like, oh, well, I can't write, you know? But finding out the reason why could actually tell you how to get over writer's block quicker. So, for example, if you have writer's block for your current work in progress, but you have no issue writing other things, like, for example, if you have writer's block in your current work in progress and you have no idea where the story should go from there, but you're able to go write a new short story, or you have all these other ideas, maybe it means that you have to plan out your work in progress more just because you don't know where it's going now. Maybe it's because you're a pantser and you haven't plotted the rest of your story. Your writer's block is probably because you don't know where you want your story to go. So maybe try doing a brainstorming session and figuring out where you want the story to go. That could help. If you have writer's block because you've been writing for hours and hours every day this week, maybe it means that you need a break. So you shouldn't write for maybe a couple of days, and then you can try to come back and write, and I can almost guarantee you that it'll be better. Sometimes we get writer's block because the story isn't working out the way we want it to, and we actually have to redirect the story and we have to replot it, or we have to do a hard thing and maybe get rid of a scene or something that you love but is not fitting your story anymore. Sometimes we get writer's block because we actually don't want to do those things. So maybe making hard decisions or replotting to where it works again. And then sometimes writer's block happens because we just are tired. So maybe you're not sleeping enough. So maybe your brain just isn't turning on. Things like that. So my advice is to find the root of your writer's block and try to go from there. Try to figure out why you can't write and then fix it. Tip number 7 is remember to take breaks and take them often. And I don't mean within a writing session, I mean days where you don't write. Because a lot of people will tell you that it's really important to write every day and to force yourself to write every day, but I'm actually a believer that that's not good because creatives are people who, you know, we're more spontaneous, and when we feel inspiration and forcing ourselves to produce art will actually make our creative, like, juices or whatever. I hate that term, but it'll actually make the creativity not as good. It'll make what we're writing weak and bland and devoid of life, void of life and anything interesting. So yeah, so take breaks. Have one day out of the week where you don't write and you go outside or you hang out with a friend or you do something other than writing or rotting on your phone. Because, like everyone says, art imitates life, And if you don't go out and have experiences, if you don't, you know, gather inspiration for your writing, then what are you going to write about? Even writing fiction, you need to know life, you need to know human experience, you need to know how to like be social in order to like write dialogue and everything. So having at least one day a week where you take a break from writing and you don't think about it, I think is really healthy, because it allows you to experience the world and then take the world and add it into your writing. I'm a firm believer in this. I think it's really important, because I know that in the past when I've tried to force myself to write every day, my writing just ends up really bad. And I don't want that for any of you. And I'm not saying routine is a bad thing, because I think routine can be a good thing. And if you're someone who takes too many breaks or you procrastinate a lot, it can be good to implement a writing routine, but not to the sacrifice of like living your life. So yeah, that's my 7th tip. Number 8. Try to become part of a writing community in any form, whether it's online or in person. Try to become a part of a writing community, and I don't necessarily mean like a professional one where you like do like Zoom meetings for like creative stuff. Like, that's not what I mean. I mean like become part of a group of people who also writes, that you can like bounce ideas back and forth from, or ask for advice from, or anything of that sort. For me, I'm part of a Christian writing group because that's who I am. So I have a bunch of friends who are writers who are also Christian. So we have something in common in our like regular lives, our Christianity, and we have something in common that we're writers, obviously. So those two things, having those in common, kind of it pushes us together, and it makes us more comfortable with each other. It makes us able to like ask for advice. I actually do that quite often, but we also have the opportunity to just be friends as well, and I think that's great. So get yourself involved in a writing community, and Instagram is a great way to get involved in something like that. People are always like making group chats or like asking for writing friends or things like that, so online is a great place to find it. Or if you're in an area that has like in-person writing groups, that can be a great thing for you too. That would probably be more focused on just the writing thing, but if that's something you're looking for and you're not as much looking for the close friend aspect of it, then that's a great avenue for you as well. Just make sure that this community is a writing community in whatever form. And it doesn't even have to be like geared toward a specific thing. You don't even have to actually have like sessions where you write together, as long as it's like a group of people who all write, and you can like, whenever you're writing or whatever, shoot them like a text or something and be like, hey, I'm struggling with this specific scene, can you give me some advice on this and this and this? That's something that's really helpful. And it helps too when it's multiple people, because you can get multiple viewpoints. So yeah, it's my tip. Find yourself a community, no matter how small, even if it's like you and 2 other people. Okay, tip number 9 is don't get caught up in following writing trends. I think that's a lot of the reason why I'm choosing to self-publish instead of traditional publish, is because there tends to be trends in the writing community where for like a 5-year, or even less than that, like a year span, all the books coming out are like the same genre, same plot, same everything. And it's a thing in the book community where for like a specific amount of time, all the authors are like releasing books that have like the same plot in the name of like doing what's popular. but I actually think that the books that get the most popular are the ones who don't follow the trends. So, I'm not saying that fame should be your goal for writing, because I also think that will hinder your writing, but I do think it's good to, like, not compare your book to ones that are, like, following specific trends or whatnot. Similarly, don't make your book around tropes that are popular. It's not bad to have tropes in your book. Every book has tropes. I think that's one of the things that's kind of ridiculous about Instagram right now, is everybody's like, oh, don't use tropes, they're terrible, like, they just make your book super cliche. It's like, every single book has tropes. You just don't have to use them to market your book. So yeah, don't, like, for example, if you see that, like, for example, enemies to lovers is a really popular thing that's, like, being marketed a lot right now. That's not a bad thing, but don't force yourself to add that into your story if it doesn't fit, just to, like, make sure people will want to read your book. That's ridiculous. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. It's not bad to have it as part of your book, but don't force yourself to, or don't, like, beat yourself up for not having it, because it'll just hinder your writing. So write what you want, write what you know, write what you think you're good at, write what fits your story, and I think that if you execute what you write well, it will be a lot better for you, and it'll get you a lot further than following the trends and, like, being like everybody else would. So yeah, that's tip number 9. Don't force yourself to follow the trends. And then, okay, this is my last tip. Remember why you write. And what I mean by this is, like, think about why you started. Think about why you love doing it. Think about what makes you want to share your writing with the world. Because I think remembering these things and keeping them close to you and at the forefront of your mind when you write will help you not become super discouraged. Because I know that I find myself often beating myself up or convincing myself that I'm not good at writing, or convincing myself that it's not worth it, or all of these things. But times when I'm thinking those things are when I'm not remembering why I write. It's when I'm not remembering why it's important to me. It's when I'm not remembering who I do it for. So just keep yourself grounded, keep yourself in check with, like, why you started. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to share it with the world? Why do you think it's important? Why do you think your story is worth sharing? All of those things will keep you motivated. And it's okay to not do this all the time, but when you feel yourself growing discouraged or feeling like there's no point, remember why there is. So yeah, that'll be it for today. Thank you for watching this video. I hope this was helpful. If you want a part 2 at some point, it probably won't be soon because I have a lot of videos planned, but if you want a part 2 at some point, let me know in the comments. And maybe if you want a part 2, say things specifically that you struggle with so that I can respond to specific advice or specific questions. That would be good. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next Saturday.